Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now. The NFL world just witnessed something absolutely incredible, and trust me when I say this. You're not going to believe what went down in Cleveland. Cam Ward, the highly touted rookie quarterback who was selected as the #1 overall pick in the draft, just came face to face with the harsh reality that maybe, just maybe, the league got it completely wrong. And now he's speaking out about Shedeur Sanders' absolutely mind-blowing performance that has everyone questioning everything they thought they knew about this year's quarterback class. What's happening right now in the NFL is nothing short of extraordinary. We're watching history unfold before our very eyes, and the drama surrounding these two rookie quarterbacks is reaching fever pitch levels that nobody saw coming. The tension, the competition, the sheer spectacle of it all, this is the kind of storyline that makes the NFL the greatest show on earth. And we're here for every single second of it. Let me paint you the full picture of what just transpired. Because this story is so much bigger than just one game. This is about legacy, about draft decisions that could haunt franchises for decades, and about two incredibly talented young men who are writing their own chapters in NFL history in completely different ways. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into one of the most controversial and exciting storylines of this entire NFL season. Cleveland became the stage for something truly special, something that has people across the league doing double takes and frantically pulling up draft boards to see how the hell everyone got this so wrong. Shedeur Sanders, the son of NFL legend and current Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, didn't just play well, he absolutely obliterated expectations and put on a performance that will be talked about for years to come. We're talking about a statement game. The kind of performance that makes general managers wake up in cold sweats wondering how they let this guy slip through their fingers. Sanders threw for over 300 yards in his game, and here's the kicker that nobody saw coming. He became the first rookie quarterback in Cleveland Browns history to throw for over 300 yards. Let that sink in for a moment. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise that's been around since the dawn of professional football, had never seen a rookie quarterback do what Shedeur Sanders just did. That's not just impressive. That's absolutely legendary. That's the kind of statistical achievement that gets etched into the record books forever. The kind of accomplishment that defines careers and separates the good from the truly great. But this story isn't just about Shedeur Sanders breaking records and making history. This is about the other side of the coin, about Cam Ward, the quarterback who was supposed to be the next big thing, the guy who teams were falling over themselves to draft first overall. Ward found himself in the unenviable position of having to respond to Sanders' spectacular showing, and what he said in his post-game press conference has everyone talking, analyzing, and debating what it all means for these two young quarterbacks and their respective futures. Now, before we dive into what Ward actually said, let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody in the mainstream media wants to address head-on. There's a growing sentiment among fans, analysts, and even some people within NFL front offices that the draft order might have been completely backwards. The whispers are getting louder, and the evidence is mounting that Shedeur Sanders should have been the #1 overall pick, not Cam Ward. We're talking about a potential $53 million mistake. The kind of error in judgment that can define and destroy careers of general managers and coaches alike. Think about that for a second. $53 million. That's not just money. That's generational wealth we're talking about. That's the difference between being the first pick and being selected lower in the draft. Some people are saying that Sanders got absolutely robbed, that he was cheated out of the payday he deserved based purely on his talent, his production, and his potential to be a franchise-altering player. The kind of money we're discussing here changes lives, changes families, changes entire communities. And if Sanders truly was the better prospect all along, then what we witnessed in the draft represents one of the most significant miscalculations in recent NFL history. But let's get to what everyone really wants to know. What did Cam Ward actually say about Sanders' performance? Did he throw shade? Did he show respect? Did he acknowledge what everyone watching already knows? The answer is actually pretty surprising, and it shows a level of maturity and professionalism from Ward that deserves recognition. Even if people are questioning whether he should have been the top pick, Ward stood at that podium in Cleveland, fresh off a game where he also played well, but was ultimately overshadowed by Sanders' historic performance, and he showed nothing but class. He talked about the game, about his own performance, about his team's victory, and he did it all with the composure of a veteran player, not a rookie who just watched another quarterback from his draft class steal all the headlines and all the glory. That takes guts. That takes character. And regardless of where you stand on the Ward versus Sanders debate, you have to give him credit for handling an incredibly difficult situation with grace. When Ward spoke about moving guys off their spots in the run game and making plays in the passing game, you could hear the confidence in his voice, but also the acknowledgement that this wasn't just about him. He praised his offensive line repeatedly, calling them the reason his team won the game. He talked about how they stepped up, how they executed the base plays, how they opened holes in the running game that allowed his team to control the tempo and dictate the flow of the contest. This is quarterback speak for, I know I wasn't perfect, but we found a way to win as a team. And that's exactly the kind of mentality that wins championships in this league. But here's where things get really interesting, where Ward's comments take on a deeper meaning when you consider the context of Sanders' performance happening simultaneously in the NFL universe. Ward talked about how winning feels good, but then immediately pivoted to discussing the flaws, the mistakes, the areas where both he personally and his team collectively need to improve. He didn't rest on his laurels. He didn't act like everything was perfect just because his team came away with a victory. Instead, he approached it with the mindset of someone who knows that the standard is excellence, not just winning. And that's a crucial distinction that separates good players from great ones. The really fascinating part came when Ward discussed efficiency, both his own and his team's. He talked about throwing guys open, putting the ball in their radius to make plays, and continuing to be efficient in the running game. These might sound like standard quarterback cliches, but when you break down what he's actually saying, it reveals a player who understands the nuances of the position at a level that many rookies simply don't possess. He's talking about anticipation, about ball placement, about reading defenses, and understanding leverage and angles. This is advanced quarterback theory, and the fact that Ward is articulating it so clearly shows that he's not just some athletic guy who can sling it. He's actually studying the game and trying to master the mental aspects that separate the elite from the merely talented. Ward went into detail about specific plays from the game, discussing man coverage situations and how running concepts work against certain defensive looks. He praised his teammates, specifically mentioning a receiver making a fantastic play and another getting separation on a crucial touchdown. He talked about the offensive line holding their blocks and creating opportunities for easy scores. Again, this is team-first language, the kind of stuff that coaches love to hear from their quarterback because it shows he understands that football is the ultimate team sport, not a one-man show. But then Ward said something that really caught people's attention, something that reveals just how honest he's being with himself about his performance. He admitted that they only played good enough football for 3 quarters, that the 4th quarter wasn't their best, and that as players, they need to hold themselves to a higher standard. This is incredibly mature self-assessment from a rookie quarterback. Most young players would just celebrate the win and move on. But Ward is already thinking about the details, about sustaining excellence for a full 60 minutes, about not having those lapses in execution that can cost you games against better competition. The praise Ward gave to his special teams unit shows that he understands the game in its totality, not just the offensive side of the ball. He recognized that special teams played a major role in the victory, and that's the kind of awareness that veteran players have, not rookies who are typically just focused on their own responsibilities and their own statistics. Ward is seeing the bigger picture, understanding how all 3 phases of the game interconnect and influence each other, and that's a sign of a developing football mind. Now, Here's where things get really emotional and really real. Ward talked about catching up with Sanders after the game. Two guys who came into the league together, who have been compared to each other endlessly, who are forever linked in NFL history because of their draft class and their positions, coming together after making their marks in their own ways. Ward said he let Sanders know that he's there, that he's excited to see him keep going, that Sanders is going to continue making plays for Cleveland, and that he's a good quarterback and a friend. This is pure class. This is sportsmanship at its finest, and this is the kind of moment that reminds us why we love this game in the first place. But we have to address the context here, the subtext that everyone is reading into these comments. Ward is essentially acknowledging Sanders' success while also maintaining his own confidence, walking that tightrope between being respectful and competitive. It's a delicate balance, and one wrong word could have turned this into bulletin board material or a media firestorm. Instead, Ward handled it perfectly, showing respect to a fellow rookie while also not diminishing his own accomplishments or his own belief in his abilities. Ward continued discussing the game, talking about how the defense gave the offense multiple opportunities with good field position, creating short fields that led to scoring chances. He emphasized the importance of complementary football, of all three phases working together to create winning situations. When the defense gets stops, when special teams provide good field position, the offense has to capitalize and reward those efforts with points. Ward gets it. He understands the symbiotic relationship between all aspects of a football team, and that understanding will serve him well throughout his career. But perhaps the most revealing moment in Ward's entire press conference came when he was asked if he needed the win, if it was important for his confidence or his mental state after whatever struggles he might have faced previously. His response was incredibly telling. He said he really didn't need it, that he treats wins and losses the same, that there's always something he has to do better, and that there were a lot of plays he missed in the game that he needs to improve on. He said he would wake up the next morning and do the same thing he did the previous week, try to get better. This is the mentality of a professional, of someone who understands that the process matters more than the results, that continuous improvement is the only path to sustained success in the NFL. Ward isn't getting caught up in the emotional roller coaster of wins and losses. He's focused on the work, on the daily grind of getting better, and that's exactly the approach that leads to long-term success in this league. You can't ride the highs too high or sink with the lows too low. You have to stay even-keeled, focused on improvement, and committed to the process regardless of what the scoreboard says. There was even a lighthearted moment when Ward joked about getting hit and his shoulder, showing that despite all the pressure and scrutiny, he can still find humor in the situation. He said at least they showed some accuracy when they got him, joking that they weren't accurate otherwise. This kind of levity, this ability to laugh and not take everything so seriously, is crucial for quarterback play in the NFL. The position is stressful enough without being wound up tight all the time. You have to be able to laugh, to release tension, to keep things in perspective, and Ward clearly has that ability. When asked about his goals moving forward, Ward laid out both team and personal objectives that show remarkable clarity of vision for a young player. As a team, he said they want to finish every game this season with a win. That's simple, direct, and exactly what you want to hear from your quarterback. But his personal goals were even more interesting. He wants to play his brand of football, the way he knows how to play, the way he's played his whole life. He wants to continue being a gunslinger, taking chances, making plays, and not letting one bad play affect the next one. He talked about having to live with both the good and the bad, critiquing both, and not letting things carry over from play to play. This gunslinger mentality is part of what makes Ward special, but it's also what makes him risky. Gunslingers make spectacular plays, but they also make spectacular mistakes. The question for Ward's career will be whether he can maintain that aggressive, playmaking mentality, while also developing the judgment and decision-making skills to know when to take risks and when to play it safe. It's a fine line, and plenty of quarterbacks throughout NFL history have struggled to find that balance. Ward emphasized that success isn't all on him, but if it is, he wants that responsibility. He wants to be the guy, wants to be accountable, wants to carry the weight of the franchise on his shoulders. That's the mentality you need from your quarterback. That willingness to accept blame and take responsibility when things go wrong, while also giving credit to teammates when things go right. It's Leadership 101, and Ward seems to understand that instinctively. The discussion of complementary football came up again, with Ward emphasizing how important it is for all three phases to work together for the majority of the game. He praised the defense for getting stops, special teams for making plays, and his receivers and running backs for executing and making plays. This constant deflection of credit to teammates, this refusal to take all the glory for himself, is exactly what builds championship cultures and creates the kind of team chemistry that leads to sustained success. When asked about his mindset and approach, Ward talked about waking up with the right mindset every day to get better at the little things, seeing the bigger picture ahead, and understanding that wins or losses don't matter in terms of his own personal process. Every day, whether after a win or a loss, he has to get better. He acknowledged that in wins you can hide flaws, but in losses everything gets exposed. This level of self-awareness and understanding of how to approach the grind of an NFL season is remarkable for someone so young and so new to the professional game. Ward even traced this mindset back to high school, showing that this isn't something new or manufactured for the media. This is who he is, how he's been approaching football his entire life. That authenticity matters. Fans and teammates can smell fake from a mile away, but when someone is genuinely committed to improvement and genuinely believes in the process, it resonates with people and creates buy-in. He finished by praising a veteran teammate, calling him a true professional, someone with a routine that rookies can look up to. Ward talked about how this veteran comes in with the right mindset, handles all the off-field stuff that players have to deal with, and constantly stresses trying to be perfect and being there for your teammates. He emphasized the importance of having a next-play mentality, of not dwelling on mistakes or getting too high on successes. This shows that Ward is learning from the veterans around him, soaking up knowledge and wisdom like a sponge, and that's exactly what young quarterbacks need to do to accelerate their development. So where does all of this leave us in the great Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders debate? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Actually, it's the $53 million question, if we're being precise. Sanders just put up a historic performance that has people questioning every draft decision that led to Ward being selected first overall. The numbers don't lie, the tape doesn't lie, and the record books now have Sanders' name etched in them for something that no rookie quarterback had ever done for the Cleveland Browns franchise. But Ward showed in his response to all of this that he's not intimidated, not discouraged, and not about to give up his spot as the #1 pick without a fight. He handled the situation with class and maturity, gave credit where credit was due, and maintained his focus on his own improvement and his own journey rather than getting caught up in comparisons and competitions with other quarterbacks from his draft class. The reality is that both of these young men are incredibly talented. Both are going to have long and successful NFL careers if they stay healthy and continue to develop, and both bring different strengths and attributes to the position. Sanders might have the pedigree, the name recognition, and now the historic performance to point to, but Ward has the draft position, the contract, and clearly the work ethic and mindset to maximize his potential. What we're watching unfold is the beginning of what could be one of the great quarterback rivalries of this generation. Think about the legendary quarterback battles throughout NFL history. Montana versus Marino, Manning versus Brady, Mahomes versus everyone else in the current era. Ward versus Sanders has the potential to join those pantheon matchups if both players continue to develop and reach their ceilings. The media will continue to compare them, fans will continue to debate them, and they'll continue to push each other to be better simply by existing in the same draft class and competing for the same accolades and recognition. But beyond all the statistics, beyond all the draft position debates and contract discussions, beyond all the media narratives and fan arguments, what this story really represents is the beauty of competition and the incredible talent level of modern quarterbacks entering the NFL. These young men are coming into the league more prepared, more polished, and more ready to contribute immediately than ever before. The development systems at the college level have improved dramatically. The coaching has gotten better, and the players themselves are more dedicated to their craft than previous generations. Ward's response to Sanders' performance tells us everything we need to know about his character and his approach to the game. He didn't make excuses, didn't diminish Sanders' accomplishments, didn't try to make it about himself or steal any spotlight. He simply acknowledged the reality of the situation, showed respect to a fellow competitor, and maintained his focus on his own improvement and his own journey. That's exactly what you want from your franchise quarterback. That maturity and perspective that allows you to handle both success and adversity with equal grace. The truth is that Sanders proved something incredibly important with his historic performance. He proved that he belongs, that he's not just Deion's son riding on his father's coattails, but a legitimate NFL quarterback who can make plays and break records at the highest level of football. He silenced doubters, he exceeded expectations, and he gave Cleveland Browns fans something they've been desperately craving for decades: hope that they finally have their franchise quarterback, the missing piece that's eluded them through countless draft picks and free agent signings and coaching changes. And Ward? Ward showed that he's got the mental makeup to handle the pressure of being the #1 overall pick, the scrutiny that comes with that position, and the inevitable comparisons to other quarterbacks from his draft class. He didn't crumble under the weight of Sanders' success, didn't lash out or get defensive, and didn't lose sight of what's important: getting better every single day and helping his team win football games. As this season continues to unfold, as both Ward and Sanders accumulate more games, more statistics, and more moments that define their young careers, the debate will only intensify. Every touchdown pass will be analyzed, every interception will be scrutinized, every win and loss will be used as ammunition by people on both sides of the argument about who should have been drafted first. It's going to be exhausting, it's going to be relentless, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. But at the end of the day, both of these young men are winners. They're living their dreams of playing quarterback in the National Football League, they're making life-changing money, and they're getting the opportunity to compete at the highest level of their sport. The rest of us get to sit back, watch it all unfold, and argue about who's better while eating snacks on our couches. They get to actually live it, to experience the highs and lows, to feel the pressure and the excitement, and to create memories and moments that will last forever. So give Cam Ward credit for how he handled this situation. Give Shedeur Sanders credit for his historic performance. And give us all credit for being smart enough to recognize that we're witnessing something special with this quarterback class, something that could define the NFL for the next decade or more. These young men are the future of the league, and the future looks incredibly bright based on what we've seen so far. The story of Ward versus Sanders is just beginning, and we're all along for the ride whether we want to be or not. Every game will bring new chapters, new developments, new ammunition for both sides of the debate. And that's exactly what makes the NFL so compelling, so addictive, so impossible to look away from even when you know you should be doing something more productive with your time.